Alrighty, welcome back to Season 4, Episode 5 of This Week in Prophecy. I'm here with my brother Aaron. Little change of venue. Thanks for making the drive up here. I'd like to, switch it up and keep everybody on their toes.
Right.
So awesome, but a lot of good weeks of dreams, some more recent, and a lot of stuff just kind of going on generally in the world. So let's jump right into it. It's definitely an exciting time. So first dream right off of the bat is April 21st, 2024. Has to do with a popular character in the news, Elon Musk, explaining symbols, a lot of havoc going on, a gentleman drinking something out of a glass, and then a radio show. So Aaron, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so I saw in this dream, I'm looking at a podcast, and what I saw was Elon Musk was explaining what symbols meant, different symbols, different things. When you see this star, this means this. And everybody who knows what that means, when they see it in a certain spot, this is what it means. Or a moon or whatever it is. But he was talking to the host, and I don't know who the host was. I could just see him. And he was talking to the host, and he was telling him this symbol means this symbol means that. And then in the background of the podcast, I saw the man with the black man with the curly hair from the phone booth. It was the exact same man.
From the phone booth.
It was the moon. Okay. It was the man from the phone booth. I saw him, and just a little side note. Next week, I have more dreams of him, and I'll put him in.
Interesting.
Because it kind of fits a little later. But I saw the man from the very first dream that we talked about with the phone booth and the money. He was sitting in a chair, and he was actually like the picture I made. He was drinking. So it kind of gives him a little nefarious look, but he was actually like this, watching Elon Musk, like, yeah, kind of laughing, like he's doing exactly what I want him to do.
Interesting.
Basically is what he was. And, so he's sitting, watching him, listening to him talk, and I knew that Elon Musk was behind everything, that what he was doing was exactly what the man with the curly hair wanted him to do. Mm-hmm. So whatever in this era, in this time, in this vision, that Elon Musk was doing exactly what the enemy wanted him to do. Maybe not even knowing it, being like the term useful idiot, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I don't really know how that plays out, but definitely the man with the loose curls. We talked about this. Was it last week? I think it was last week, right?
Yeah.
Or the week before. The man in the phone booth. Throughout as time's been going on, right? Did we see the picture of the money? Was that before or after the last?
The money specifically stacked up coming out of the Minneapolis or the Minnesota airport did resonate with the way the money was stacked.
It was exactly the same. That man was standing there with stacks of $10,000 bills, and in the dream. Mm-hmm. Or in the news article, they were showing the money exactly stacked the same way in these bags, suitcases they were trying to smuggle out of the country.
Right.
So, that man definitely. What it is I know that there is all these other things happening are just, dumpster fires that they're starting, trying to get your attention away from what's really going on, because. They just, this community, you're attacking just this community, but it's this community where the roots are exposed.
Right.
And so we're going to find how deep these roots really go. As we go on, continue, you will see how deep they really go. This is just the part that's exposed right now. So
a couple of questions. When you say, obviously, like Elon Musk, like he was kind of it's hard to align the term like useful idiot with Elon Musk. He's kind of quirky, but the guy's definitely
he's
bright.
Genius. Yeah, sure. He's not stupid.
Was his persona more so of like an agent of what was going on in this Somalian guy? I'm just going to say it, Somalian, because that's how we describe the man in the phone booth, kind of saying, "Oh, you're falling into my trap," or what was his kind of persona on the podcast? Because he looked like in at least the picture you sent me, he was the one who was getting interviewed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The other man was just in the background, like as if nobody saw him there.
Got
but
it.
he was just like looking, like thinking, yeah, well, all that. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Like he thinks in Elon's mind, this is what he's doing is righteous, but to the enemy, no, that's exactly what I want you to do because I'm gonna lead people in this direction.
Got it.
I guess you could say, but I knew that Elon Musk in the dream, like at the end of the dream, was behind it all.
Right.
I don't know that he was the mastermind, or he was or was not, but he was. It was what he was saying, what he was doing on this thing. That man in the back was like, perfect. That's
Got it.
perfect. That's why he's like kind of laughing. He's kind of smiling, and he's in the picture. He's got a drink in his hand, so he's kind of like watching, just relaxing, like yes,
Kind of spectating. Yeah.
yes,
Got it.
He's like what he's doing is perfect to him.
And then talk to me about the symbols.
So I don't know what the symbols meant. I don't know if that was just. I mean, he didn't really explain what they meant. Like there was a star and there was a moon, and he was showing like if you see this, it means this, but he didn't explain what this was.
Okay.
He was just like if you saw it in real life, you understand. In my dream, he didn't explain what they meant.
Understood. And you're positive that this was the like you've facially recognized the dark-skinned man, the Somalian man sitting behind exactly the same.
Yeah, I'll never forget that man's face. And I've seen him in a few other dreams, and we'll talk about it on another week because, yeah, I knew he was dark. Like he came out of the darkness. Like I was standing and it was pitch black. Like I was having a dream, and then all of a sudden everything went pitch black, and that man's face came out of the darkness, and it was right here, and he just screamed, and this was in my vision.
Wow.
Yeah, it was dark. But it has to connect with a lot more things, and we could talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last question, specifically with the symbols, right? Did the symbols feel relatable or ancient, or like any relation to anything like spiritual, or were they just kind of more? I'm thinking like on one side of the spectrum, you have like a star that's like clip art on like a Word document, right? Something really comical, and you have a star that could be associated with like an Eastern religion or something. Was there any association between the symbols that you're like, oh, I know what that's tied to, or was it just more random?
I would say that the way he was explaining it was, but like I said, I don't know exactly what the star meant because he didn't say what this was, but like the feeling I get is like if you're looking for a place that you can traffic little children, look for this symbol. If you look for a place that has satanic worship, look for this symbol. We know what the pentagram looks like. We know what the upside down cross means. We know what this, but we don't know every single thing, how they communicate in darkness.
Right.
And so he was relaying these things. If you want to know where you can traffic in boys, if you want to traffic in girls, like kind of that. Look for this symbol, look for this symbol. Whatever, like lots of theories that people have talked about. I don't want to say conspiracy because it's only conspiracy until it comes true.
Right.
And a lot of things come true.
Right.
But, this kind of triangle means boys, and this heart with the thing means girls, whatever it is. It was like that. That's what they were, but I don't know what it was.
It's almost like a symbolic representation of like a nefarious act.
How people communicate without the general population understanding what they're communicating.
Understood. Definitely an intense dream.
Yeah, there was a lot to it. Even though it's very short on here, there was a lot to it. Like, that man in the background, just like how I said, he wasn't just somebody I'm watching. Now he's interacting in the other dream where he comes out of the darkness, and it was right here in my face.
Right.
And he just screamed. And so it's like I know that this is the darkness behind us. This is the darkness behind what's happening. This is where it's starting, right here. Minnesota, right? Minneapolis. We're seeing these riots start. Now they're going all over the country. What happened there in 2020?
Right.
George Floyd.
Yep.
Exact same place. It's not a coincidence this is happening. It's on purpose. So like this, we don't see a lot of things in the natural. Mm-hmm. I did a teaching on altars that were put up around the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in Germany, they brought the throne of Satan from, gosh dang it, it's in the book of Revelations, even one of the letters to the churches. I can't remember the city. I'd have to look it up. But they brought the altar of Zeus to Germany, and then 4 years later they had World War One. Then after World War One, they put it together, and they rebuilt it. Then World War Two, right? Then they put it they made a specific museum around this altar of Zeus. Now in Revelations, that altar of Zeus is in the Revelations. I know where you dwell, where throne Satan is. Well, they moved it from Pergamum to Germany. And what's happened ever since?
Yeah.
World War I, World War II, this, killing of the Jews. Why do we not realize that these are altars? And then they say, well, it's a World Heritage Site, we need to protect it. No, burn it down. Burn it to the ground.
Right.
I mean, it's in the Bible as the throne of Satan.
Right.
In Pergamum, where the altar of Zeus was. Once they moved it to Germany, all these things happened. So whatever they did in Minneapolis, wherever they set up their altar in Minneapolis, that's why things start there.
Interesting.
And so, I don't know. I don't know where it is, what it is, however they did it. But these things are so real. And people just, nah, that's stupid. That's conspiracy.
Right.
Conspiracy, whatever. But you can see, if you stop, I'm just going to read things and actually look, what do you see with your eyes happening? Wow, I see them actually move this to here. And then every time they would do something, put it together. Okay, another world war. Do this, another. Can you not see what's happening,
Right.
But people glaze over things. They just want to see the dumpster fire.
Right, instead of understanding all the steps that God has
Right,
set.
there's so much more. God is, if you're, for instance, a Christian, and you think that God is sovereign over the world, well, he is over the world.
Right.
Right? And so when God does something, the enemy does something, and then the enemy does something. Why he doesn't just destroy the enemy and, I don't know. It's not my plan. It's not on me. I'm not the sovereign of the world.
Right.
But I know that I see them working, right? Why did Daniel have to wait 21 days for the angel to come? Well, because he had to fight the Prince of Persia. Well, God could have just wiped out the Prince of Persia, but he didn't.
Right.
So we know through reading the Bible, understanding God's heart, we know how things work. So we can, why do people not think those things still work today the same way?
Right.
It's
God
tough.
is just, good and evil is at just as much of, a push and pull as it is today as it was back then. And just because, we don't live in ancient times doesn't mean that, one, that Christ isn't still working, that the Spirit is still active and alive, and two, that the devil's very real and there's evil in the world. I completely agree.
A lot of people would discount it. God doesn't do that. I've heard that so many times.
Right.
God doesn't do that. He's given us instruction on exactly how it does this. Okay, stop.
Yeah, stop putting God
People
in
are
a box.
getting hurt.
Yeah.
People are getting hurt and losing their salvation because of you saying God doesn't do that. Now, he does give us instructions. Hey, this is sin. Don't do this. Sexual immorality is wrong. Don't do this. I mean, he gives us, but the rest of it is is this right? Is this wrong? You know what? This is wrong. It doesn't specifically say that I should not kick you in your shins, but I know that if I kick you in your shins, it's wrong. You're going to be angry with me, and I'm going to get kicked out, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But it doesn't say in the Bible, do not kick Billy in his shins today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I completely understand.
yeah,
I completely understand.
It's difficult.
A lot of layers to the onion, for sure.
It is a lot of layers, but it's not that hard. It's not as
No.
hard as people make it out to be.
Absolutely. So moving on to the next stream, and I love the image behind this one.
This is a good one.
I really think it's a good image. There's an oil ditch, a Muslim neighbor rebuilding a car, and then Biden, the former president, being sad. So walk me through that dream.
So this one, sorry. Okay, I pulled into so this is my parking space in a apartment complex almost. So I pulled into my parking space, and Pastor or Apostle Phil says that I drive prophetically.
Okay.
Which means,
You kinda-
yeah.
Yeah.
So I pull in my parking space just like normal, right? So I pull in my parking space and I look next to me, and this man, there's a car up on like jacks. And under the car is this ditch, and it's about this deep, maybe up to your knees deep. And in the ditch is oil. The picture doesn't show it, but it's like, it's not even oil. It's like a dark, black, gooey mess. And I couldn't get the picture to show that. So, but also there's these parts for this car. And what he's doing is building a car. At the front end, right now he's like everything but the front end is torn off. Or, everything is built but the front end. Okay. So he's putting pieces together and building. And I noticed that he doesn't even look at me. He's just doing what he has to do. Doing it. And I'm looking at him, and I know he's a terrorist. And I know he's building something bad. Even though I see it as a car, he's putting something together that's not good. That's what I know, especially with the black goo. There's so much with that I could explain later. But with the black goo, it really says a lot to me that there's something. He's standing in dark. He's standing in evil. I don't know how to explain it. Right. And as I'm standing there watching him, Joe Biden walks up. And he sits down, just exactly like he sits down in the picture, kind of on the edge of the thing. And he's looking down, and he says, well, we could have did a much better job. He wanted me to feel sad for him, is what I was getting. Like, I could have did a much better job at president. Like, no, you knew what you were doing. Mm-hmm. Or you just didn't know, and everybody else knew they all knew what was happening. Right. And you are mentally incapable of doing that job. But as he sat down on the edge of that thing, I knew that he wanted me to feel sorry for him, but I didn't. I'm like, no, you don't. That's not a position that you take and then are, doing dark things for the 4 years. Right. Whether you knew or you didn't know, somebody knew, and it will come out later. But I knew that he was building something really bad. So whatever this planned thing that he was doing, I don't know, but I knew he was a terrorist. I knew he was putting something together. Like, as I come back and look on these things, was it a bomb? Was it this? Was it this? I don't know. Right. And like I said, I don't want to just speculate on things that God hasn't told me, because He will eventually. So yeah, it seemed like that. I just didn't like the feeling he wanted me to feel sad for him.
Right. He was like pining for your empathy.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of to cover up.
Now, when he arrived, when Biden comes into your dream, did he walk up in like a fashion that obviously, because like whenever the president walks anywhere, he has a whole entourage that goes with him. Was it just him?
Just him.
So he didn't really walk up in a quote unquote presidential way. No. And did the Muslim man have any reaction when he arrived?
The Muslim man kept building what he was building.
He just kept doing his thing.
And Joe Biden came up by himself, sat on the edge, and just like that. Just exactly like the picture.
Now, apart from wanting you to feel empathy for him, could you see any regret that he was showing, or was he just kind of wanting that empathy?
That's tough, right? I don't know if he was doing it to make me feel empathy for him, or if he was doing it because he really felt that way. Right. I don't think he really felt that way, because he still does not acknowledge that he did a crappy job. He still says Trump is the devil. Right. Right. So that's not him almost, repenting for the mistakes he made, or the autopen. The autopen is going to be so much bigger than we think right now. I know that. I seen that in the dream. Yeah. But is it? I don't think he thought I could have did a better job. I think he wanted me to feel that way, almost like he gets on the camera and wants the country to feel that way for him. Right. I wish I would have got elected, because the devil in the Trump would not be in there right now, and we would be so much happier and free. When you know that socialism is not happy and free. Right. It's oppressed and hungry. Yeah. So kind of a politician special, right there. Oh yeah, 100%. Okay. I feel like lately I have seen more fake politicians, of people I thought were good people. Right. I can't explain it. When they talk, I feel like that's fake. That man's fake. He's faking right now. One that I don't believe is fake is Jim Jordan. I believe that man is he's pretty authentic. There's another one. I can't remember his name. I saw him the other day. He was on the news because of the Minnesota thing. But there's just a few that I feel like, okay, they're pretty genuine. They genuinely want to get to the bottom of things, and then 90% of them are just get me in.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
I will benefit myself. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, it does not matter. I feel like a lot of people are. Some mammon is their thing, just the money,
Right.
and some are being blackmailed, and some are just genuinely horrible people,
Yeah.
and they don't care about anybody but themselves. So I think there's a lot of layers to that, but yeah, it seems like lately you just feel like, oh, that's not a good person. That's not a good person.
I think it's telling in a country, in a political system where you really have to like the status quo is this person's not telling the truth. They're having a political spin on things. I think that's a really dangerous position as a country to be in, because at the end of the day, those offices were set up for those people to serve the public.
That is 100%.
And to better our country and our culture and our economy and the nation. And unfortunately, it's gotten to a point where it's just, it's a very dirty business.
They don't serve anybody. They serve the interests of whoever's paying them. It's the because you see this so much. Like, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago when look at the platforms. Like, if you read the Democrat Party, what they platform, what their
childcare,
healthcare, all these things,
care for the elderly, and
we're
then you see
all all these things they're seeing now frauding. So is this really what Democrats want? I don't think so. I think they want to not pay a lot of money for food, and they want to have cheap gas, and they want to have affordable housing. All these other stuff, that's their thing and their donors. It's not the Democrat Party. However, I feel like I'm kind of done. Like, I don't want to, like, hey, let's have a conversation. No, you elected these horrible people. Like, I'm done, like, trying to get people together. I don't want to give any place to the devil right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm struggling in the spiritual with, like, oh, we should come together as one, unite as one. But their views are so askew of, like, what morality is, what's good in morality and not, that I just don't want to even, like, you know what I mean? Come together. It is hard. It's hard for me right now, anyways.
I know we could go back and forth about politics all night.
Sure.
So
No.
Not to get derailed. I'm going to take us back to the third dream, July 30th, 2024. This is kind of an old style town, setting in the 1400s, preparing for an invasion, and then walking with Jesus. Let's walk through that one.
So this one was really good, actually. This is like, okay, so I was walking through this town, and I knew it was like, there's the Dark Ages, 1400s, kind of kings and castles, but there was ships. So almost in the sense of maybe the 1600s when pirates were really prevalent in the Caribbean.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, but they were preparing for an invasion. So they were setting cannons up on these near this wall that overlooked the ocean. So it was like a cliff, and there was a town behind it, but there was a wall around, and there was little ports for cannons, and people were like in a frenzy, kind of getting everything set up. They were stacking cannonballs. They were getting their cannons ready, cleaning them out, whatever it was. And as I'm walking through the town, I'm walking with Jesus, and he's telling me all the things that are wrong with the church. And he's like, look, my people don't understand. This is what they're doing wrong. This and this. And I remember in the dream, like, when I wake up, I have to write this down. I knew I was dreaming. I knew I was really walking with him in this, say it's more than a vision, right?
Right.
Or it's more than just a dream, it's a vision. And I'm walking next to him, and I'm just listening intently, like, oh, I never thought about it that way. I got to write this down as soon as I wake up. And so I knew that it was ships. I knew that ships were coming for this battle. So they were stacking cannonballs.
Like an invasion?
Yeah, kind of like like that time. So like these ships, these sailing ships, these sloop of war kind of frigate, old school like British Navy ships, or I don't know who it was, but they were coming, and they were gonna like fire cannons at the town, and the towns were gonna fire cannons back. I knew that it was this kind of battle.
Got it.
The Pirates of the Caribbean ride
Right.
at Disneyland, when you go through like the ocean, and he's like, "Yeah, fire!" And then you see the fort, the Spanish fort firing back. Same thing. It was exactly like that. And so as we were walking, he's not even paying attention to him. I'm seeing it, but I'm still paying attention to him. So they were getting their buckets of water. They were getting their stuff ready for this battle. And we were walking, and I knew people were going. And in the dream, I knew people were going to go away. I didn't know what that meant, but I just knew that people were going away. And then I woke up, and I couldn't remember a word that he said.
A word that he said, Jesus?
Yeah. I remember the dream. I remember step by step, walking with him, looking at the people in the camp. But every single word that he uttered to me, which I knew in the dream was like it would have changed the church drastically. And the body, I mean, this was the things that it was like the letters in Revelations to the different churches.
Right.
I know what you're doing. I know you don't have much power, but this is what you're doing wrong. Fix this. How long are you going to tolerate Jezebel? I know that your heart. I know what your heart. And it was like these kind of things that would have changed everything, but I couldn't remember a word he said. I was so, and I know later it will come in pieces. That's how I know it'll come in like little pieces. Saturday was, you better prepare your hearts for what's coming.
Right.
Like a lot of people are going to, like in the dream, a lot of people are going away. I don't know what that meant. Like I just knew that tons of people are going to go away. And so what he was telling me was piece by piece. It will be piece by piece revealed, but it was a lot. And there was a lot of things that I just remember thinking like, oh, that's amazing. Thank you. I gotta write this. As soon as I wake up, I'm going to write it down.
Wow. And so you even had that recollection like in the dream.
In the dream, yeah.
And you woke up. Were you frustrated when you woke up and you couldn't remember?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do you think that was not that anything like took away the memory of what was said, but do you think that's almost as if it was purposeful that you don't remember to save it for a later date?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of like in the Bible when he says, write this down. Now roll it up and seal it away for another day. Talking about the scrolls, right? And so it's like that. But I knew it was so important. Like, this is, the body needs to hear. I remember walking next to him thinking, the body needs to hear this. And when I wake up, I got to write every word for word down because it was that important. And I couldn't remember a word that he said.
Interesting.
It was actually weird. It wasn't that I couldn't remember. It was like he was speaking and nothing came out. But in the dream, he was speaking. But when I woke up and was praying and like writing my dream down, it was like he was speaking to me and no words came out of his mouth.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that kind of got taken away for a later date.
Interesting. Well, it's a piece of the puzzle.
It is 100% a piece of puzzle.
All right, so the next one that we go to, this one you have listed as a vision. So just to be clear, that wasn't a dream. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's no date on this one, but we can assume sometime in the past. Recent?
3 years ago,
3
maybe,
years-ish?
4 years ago, yeah.
Got it. So a pretty decent amount of time. And this vision, white marble room, pillars, a river frame, and the White House. So why don't you walk me through this vision?
So this is one of those half awake, half asleep things, right? Where that second that you come out of sleep, before you open your eyes, or before you go to sleep, actually, it's happened too. But in that split second that you regain, consciousness, I don't know, however you want to call it, you sometimes get like a whole story told to me.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a flag. I see the flag from Nepal. But this was a whole like story. So I was standing in a white marble room and there was pillars like the Parthenon in this room. And they would go up and then there was a cap. Mm-hmm. And there was no ceiling. So these pillars were supposed to hold the ceiling, but instead there was no ceiling. There was no ceiling. I was standing in the middle of the room, or in the middle of the room was like a picture frame, and it was like imagine this, and it was long, very long. So, and in the center of this picture was, it looked like snow on it. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, television used to stop programming,
Yeah, and you'd have the snow.
and it was like,
Yeah.
well, it was just like that, but
Okay.
it looked, they were longer. Instead of the television, were like little short bars of color, blue, green, and red,
Right.
or red, blue, whatever, green. Anyways, but it was long, and there were all these different colors, like a rainbow colors, and they were just like doing the same thing, but they were much longer. And so the marble, it was in a picture frame. It seemed like, and there, it was like it kind of looked like waves like that, the picture frame, and they were all like this one went this way and this one went this way. It reminded me of one of those Japanese pictures of the ocean.
Oh, like those old like Americana, or not Americana, but the old Japanese style. Like people get tattoos of it. all the
Yes,
time.
it
Yeah.
looks like the waves like this, and the
Right.
guy's in it like one of those little reed boats.
Right.
That's kind of what it reminded me of when I saw it. So as this river of colors is flowing, so let's see, it looked maybe 20 feet long, and then there was waves of marble, and in the middle of the frame, it looked like a flowing river of colors, like snow on an old television set. And then there was three men with robes, and I couldn't see their faces. And one man had like a tablet. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a tablet that he had it in his hand. He was looking at it, and it could have been, I don't know how to explain it, but I thought, is it stone? Like, I don't know what it was. It was something I've never seen, but I thought it was like stone. And then there was a man next to him, and then a man on the other side. So they were looking at each other, and the picture was like this. Not in the picture that I sent,
Right.
where they're all on the same side, but it's kind of the same because I couldn't get him to draw it like this. So just imagine two on one side, one on the other side, and the man with the tablet was kind of giving the orders. And the man on the other side stuck his arm inside the river, and when he stuck his arm, everything stopped. And when it stopped, I saw the White House, the Oval Office. I saw Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and another man. And the man stuck his arm in there and he did something, like messed with them. But they were frozen. They were just frozen in time. But he stuck his arm in there and like did something. And then when he stuck it out, he pulled his arm out and he went like this. And then it went flowing again. And so you couldn't see.
Interesting.
And it was just like, and okay, so I saw the White House, the Oval Office. I saw the president, vice president, and a man I didn't know, but I seen him before in other dreams. And he's so this man is short, kind of fat, wears a suit that's way too big for him, but he has like a Texas accent.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'll talk about him in other dreams too, or in other stuff that we talk about. So I've seen him before in other dreams. One man had like a clipboard or tablet or whatever, and he was telling the other man what to do inside the picture. And as they did what they were supposed to do. He would take his arm out and then go like that, and it would begin flowing again. It was, I knew this is one of the rooms in heaven. Like I was in heaven looking at what God is. He's still, even though God, like the plan is playing out, like these evil people, right? Why do they plot a vain thing? This is their, whatever their vain thing is that hasn't fully been exposed yet, they're plotting it. But God's still like, okay, right here, we're going to change this. So it's not going to be as bad as you
God's
think.
still intervening.
Oh, he's still intervening. This is the room where he intervenes. And these people, whether they're angels or righteous, cloud of witness, I don't know. But they just were, I knew they were men, and they had like thick white linen robes on. And they were almost like, I don't know, thick white linen robes. Almost like cotton, it seemed like, but I knew they were linen. And I don't even know. I think they had like stripes, maybe like a red stripe around the legs. I don't know what that means. But you couldn't see them, and I just knew they were like, all right, here it is. This guy's got his tablet. Okay, this is where you're going to stop it right now. And he just stick his arm in there, do some fiddle with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and then pull it out, which is like God saying, like, I know what you're doing. Don't worry. Like, I got this.
Right.
I got this, and you're not going to know, and the rest of these people are not going to know, but I'm showing you that I got this. Now tell these people. Now tell everybody else. Because this wasn't a dream. This wasn't like a, well, you know, this wasn't one of those dreams where I don't know what it means. No, no, no. I was there and he was showing me. I'm still intervening. A lot of my people think that I'm just up there judging people and this and that, but I'm still intervening. And even if it's for a remnant, I'm still intervening, you know?
Right.
We just have no idea how he's doing it, what he's doing. I mean, I could say a lot of people think they do.
Yeah.
They think they know it all. And I, you know, anyways.
No, we
we'll
definitely
just leave it
don't.
at that.
No, that's totally fine. And that's that.
And there's that.
And there's that. So the only real question I have about this dream, because you laid it out perfectly, is when that man stuck his arm into kind of through that frame and you saw that vision of the White House, was there any indication of what was happening in the Oval Office? Like, was it something nefarious that was being intervened to make better? Is there anything more about that scene that you got from that?
You know what? I don't know. All I know is that the man that was in there was important. And I've seen him in other dreams and he's bad. Like,
So that man who's not Biden, not Harris,
Biden, not Kamala, but
the other man is bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen him in other dreams, and we'll talk about. I had 2 dreams that continued. Actually, one played out a scenario, and then another it was in the same spot. There was murder, there was smuggling, there was like government agents. There's a lot to it, and Coca-Cola. But yeah, right. But I know that man is bad. Now, it's hard to tell what was happening. Like it wasn't like it stopped them and they were doing drugs, like right in the middle of injecting heroin. You know, like they were just standing in the Oval Office. So maybe they were speaking, they're planning something. But when I saw inside the frame, the picture, the river, it's God's glory. It's what it is.
Right.
When I saw inside of God's glory, they were just, Joe Biden was standing looking at a fireplace. Kamala Harris was standing by a couch, and that other man was between the 2 couches or the coffee table, whatever, looking at them too. And they were just like frozen in time. I don't know what the man did. He just stuck his arm in there, and I knew he did something.
Right.
So I don't know what they were doing. I don't know this. I don't even know what point in time it was. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that God is instructing his angels or whatever these people were. He's instructing them exactly what to do, when to do, where to do it for his plan to continue on.
Right.
Now, we know that they're not in the White House anymore, but what he was saying is that I'm still doing it, even they're in charge. I'm especially doing it now.
Right.
So
I came up with the way that I titled my notes was the marble control room. So
yeah, it's pretty. That was a pretty awesome. Like I know he showed me inside because those pillars, right? So there's no ceiling. Okay.
Was there sky or anything?
Yeah, it just went up.
It turned.
So I know that's like God.
Right.
Like it's a higher, God in his sovereignty is controlling it. There's no cap to the top of his throne room. You know what I mean? Because he's looking down in there telling those guys exactly, relaying information on the tablet, whatever it is. He's still letting them know, this is what I want done. This is what I want done. And they're, yes, sir, whatever, however it is. But I remember that thinking like, why is there no ceiling? They got pillars supposed to hold up a ceiling, but there's no ceiling.
Right.
And so, I knew that was being controlled by, the Creator.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So moving forward a little bit to October 29th, 2025, trapped in a steel mill, North Korean soldiers, and then rubble in your hometown?
Yeah.
Okay. Take me through that one.
Okay, so my hometown, I grew up in Azusa in California.
SoCal?
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Okay.
So I lived there, same house all my life till I left for the Navy. So I was in my hometown, Azusa, and I was out exploring, and I remember there was like by my mom's house, and it seemed like there was a lot of rundown buildings and piles of rubble. So places where there was houses that are now rubble,
Destroyed,
piles
yeah.
of rubble. Yeah. So almost like Europe after World War II.
Okay.
That's kind of like what I'm seeing. So I'm walking around and I'm walking out with some people I did not know, and I was taking them somewhere. I'm just like, follow me, I'll get you to where you need to go, kind of thing. And so as I'm walking, they're following me through these piles of rubbles. And then as I'm walking back to my mom's house, I started to fall on the ground. Like my equilibrium was off. I don't know how to explain it.
Like vertigo?
Yeah, like vertigo, or even like somebody who's so drunk they can't stand, kind of like that. And I remember I kept falling and and then I was laying on the ground, and the sky was spinning. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to call my boss. I can't go to work like this. And so I'm about to call my boss. I can't go to work like this. And then I got back up, and I was okay. And I was trying to get back to my mom's house, and I was climbing over these piles of rubble, and I got on top of this pile of rubble and go down, and then I was inside of this steel mill.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, what is this? And it was run down. It was like the fence was kind of falling over a little bit, but not really. It looked like it was run down and had been abandoned for a long time.
Okay.
So when I went, I saw the turn. I'm stuck in here. I can't get out of this steel mill, and I know my mom's house is just right here. And so I'm like, oh, well, there's the turnstile. I can get out, and it looks all beat up, run down. Like I could just move it to the side and get out. But when I got there and moved it to the side, started to walk, then there was like this high tech, like I remember seeing like green and red lights, and it was like one of those ones where you put like a card into it, and it like doo-doo, and the door opens up. So there was this facade of like run down, beaten up. When I got on the other side of the fence to get back to my mother's house, I was still stuck, and there was this new high tech. It was black, and it was like very, very difficult. Like you wouldn't be able to get around it. There was the turn gate, but then the rest of it was like electrified fence, and like somebody had just put it in.
Right.
All right, so then I knew, like, I saw cars coming, black SUVs. Like kind of the way you see the president driving with his.
Like the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that. So I went back inside, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna hide. And I saw these cars come through. The gate opened for them, and they were like all 5 cars, like this close to each other.
Yeah.
And they just came in. The doors open, and they get out, and they're wearing all black military uniforms, and they all had MP5s, like little
submachine gun.
Sure.
Yep.
And so I'm hiding under this like walkway that's elevated. So you go up the steps, and there's a walkway that's elevated, and it takes you into the steel mill. And I'm hiding under there, and I see them coming, and I'm like, those are North Korean soldiers. That's what I'm seeing. They're wearing black uniforms, but they have like the little emblem, like the communist emblem with the little North Korean flag on it. So I think there was like 6 or 7 of those guys that were walking through the factory, and I'm hiding under the steps. They all stopped right above me, and then, okay, we got to find this guy, and like kept going, right? Because they're not just walking; they're like, checking around corners. They got their weapons out, and one guy's standing right in front of me, and I was hiding. I'm good, but I made a noise, like something. I did something, and he looked down, and I looked up, and his gun was pointing right at me. So he heard the noise and looked down and was pointing his gun. And as I looked up, I saw the barrel in my face, and I was like, I'm sorry, I just got stuck here. But that's when I really saw the uniform, like, oh, those are North Koreans.
Right.
It was close to me. And I said, I'm sorry, I just got stuck here. And then like a fear, like, oh no, I'm caught. And then I woke up.
Interesting.
Yeah, this dream, what did we see in the New York dream? We saw Muslims,
Right.
and we saw South Americans,
Right.
all ran by the UN. Why am I seeing now the Asians on the West Coast?
The North Korean side. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that it's North Korea. I don't even think.
Oh, you're talking about East Coast and those nations and West Coast and Asia, because it would make sense from kind of a, this is one shore, this is the other shore, and what countries. I get what you're saying. Okay.
So to me, because that other one wasn't, it was around this time, I think, maybe even after it.
Right.
But I know that they're closing in on New York City. That's what they want, is
Right.
New York City. This is where our financial district is,
Right.
entertainment, news.
Yep.
Most of the news, like all those big, they're all from in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. You got,
It's close, yeah.
yeah, you have, New York City and Los Angeles are the two cultural epicenters of America, you could say,
Yeah.
especially with the finance and media.
And entertainment and media.
Yeah. So, yeah, on the West Coast now, I'm seeing like the Asians, and they're, on the outside, it just looks like rundown buildings, almost like the occupation after a war.
And that was part of my question about going over the rubble. Did it feel like post-war? The notes that I had said either like post-war, economic collapse. I know that some of the dreams you've had prior talked about like another virus or something that had come and swept through. So would you say post-war?
I didn't like, I couldn't say how the rubble was like that. I just remember looking around like, wow, this is horrible.
Right.
But then walking through, taking people places, like it was just normal. Mm-hmm. Like, well, this is how it is here.
Got it.
Kind of thing. I don't remember feeling like, oh yeah, this is post-war, this is an earthquake or whatever it was. I don't know what caused it. All I know is that I just remember like where there was houses, where houses used to be in my neighborhood, there was now piles of rubble where each house was.
Got it.
And so, oh gosh, there's so many things we could talk about right now.
I know. I don't really remember a lot of having grown up in Southern California too. Not a plethora of steel mills.
Well,
down there.
there was one actually. So where I grew up is right off Route 66, and
Okay.
like a couple blocks from there was train tracks, and that train track there was a hub there. Mm-hmm. Azusa had a big train stop.
Okay.
From
Like a yard.
back in the day,
Yeah.
right? So that was one of the big train stops. As a matter of fact, if you watch old TV and like they're riding the trains, they always talk about Azusa as the next stop. Anyways, so there was a small steel mill there. It was not even a 5-minute walk from my house. It wasn't as
way.
close as it was in the dream, but there was a small. I remember like driving by as a kid and seeing them like, and it was
Yeah.
small. It wasn't like a humongous, like we're thinking like Pittsburgh. It was pretty small, but it was open, and you can tell that they were actually building stuff. And in that area is a big industrial area, so like there was a part there where they made floats for the Rose Parade.
Right.
And then there was that factory. You ever see those chocolates that look like whiskey bottles, and inside you bite them, and there's like a little.
Yeah.
That factory's there.
Wow.
And so that's where if you ever read the little bottle, it says Zeus, California. There's a long story with that. But anyways, me and my buddy used to walk through there every day to junior high, and there was 2 ladies that used to work in there on their break when we were going to school, and they'd always give us bags those times. Anyways, so there was a steel mill there.
Right.
And, I could. Anyways, the point is, like these, I don't know why it was so rubble everywhere.
Right. The facade of this place looking like beat down and decrepit, and then you kind of going through this gate and everything looking new was really unique as well. Is there anything more to kind of glean from that?
Yeah, that it's really not what it looks like.
Or it's kind of a facade.
It is a facade. Like,
Okay.
I'll just give you a little bit of this. I had a dream that I had to buy a house. It was in California, and I went to the realtor, and he was like a drug addict, right? But I knew that like it was the owners feeding him the drugs to keep him this way. And so when I went to buy the house, I remember I had to talk to the actual owners, and this door opened where the owners were, and it was like inside of a Chinese office. And there was like this brass plate, and it had like a panda and like Chinese kanji. And the man came to the door, and he was like dressed like Kim Jong-un, like the long trench coat and the pressed pants. But it was the way that he dresses, not like American businessmen dress.
Right.
And they shut the door real quick, like I was not supposed to see
What was behind
all these people that own these properties in California. because it was in California. It wasn't, and it was specific and like it's very specific. It was California. Who owned the property? I was not supposed to see, but I accidentally did by the door opening. The point is, we have to talk about it another day. What we see, I think it's collapse. I mean, it could be that it's just California collapsing on the weight of these policies that people are doing, and somebody's behind it.
Right.
That people from other countries,
right,
are behind it.
Or there's intervention of other countries to kind of help lead to the
collapse.
The collapse.
100%, man. Like we are so blessed.
We are
as a nation, and people hate it.
Yeah. Puts a big target on
it.
It does.
Yeah. That's what communism does. You see communism here in this state or in this country, and what is it? We got to take from the rich and give to the poor. Then we have to redistribute. Well, that's not just here. China,
Yep.
all these other countries feel the same way, and they want to take from us
Yep.
and give to them.
Yep.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely one to, and it sounds like there's some themes there that we'll revisit in future dreams. When we
Yeah,
go through.
definitely. We'll talk about it.
So moving on to the dream, November 15th, 2025. This one, there's a gate here, open gate, but industrial park, there's a crowd, there's a fire, and there's a leader in a distinct mink coat.
Yeah.
Walk me through that one.
So this one, there's a lot to it. Actually, it's hard to write it down how I felt. So I was working outside. So this was my business where I work, and I was outside, and there's a gate, and it was open, and but it was in an industrial park, which is not where I work at. My work is right on Boulder. So, but this was inside of an industrial park. So you had to like make a left on a street, and you're going through all these like factories and small industrial type buildings, and then you got to my work. So I could hear people talking about things that were happening in other places. So the people in the other businesses around me, they were talking about, oh, you see what happened here in Texas? You see what's going on in California? You see what's going on in Michigan?
Okay.
And I could hear them talking about things happening in other places. Then I hear the neighboring companies say, oh, it's time to close up. They're here. So everybody started closing up their businesses and shutting their gates and like almost like putting wood on the windows kind of thing.
Wow.
And I said, we're not doing that. I'm not afraid of these people. So I went outside of my business, walked into the street, and I could see news stories from around the country. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like in a flash, I saw this man was killed, this man was shot, this happened here, robbery, blah, blah. And I'm seeing all these news stories from around the country, and they're all bad.
Okay.
There's nothing like, oh, today was a miraculous day. It was all just chaos around the country.
Fitting for the news.
Yeah, nothing new. So I was walking backwards, and there was a manhole cover that was open. And I stepped into it, and I caught myself with my arms from falling down.
Right.
So it was open. And then I saw a crowd of people coming. And imagine like the 2020 riots. You know how you saw the people coming? You see like 1, 2 people coming, and then this big mob
Just
of
a
people.
mass of
And that's
people,
what I
yeah.
saw was this big mob of people coming through the industrial park. So I stepped into the manhole cover, and I caught myself. And I caught myself, and as I'm climbing back out, there was a cop that was under me. So imagine when I fell down and caught myself on my elbows in the cover, like my feet just touched his shoulders perfectly. Like he wasn't.
So he was underground in the manhole.
He was under me,
Okay.
and my feet just kind of landed. Not like he was holding me, but it was just touching it, you know?
Yeah.
And so as I'm climbing out, he's kind of pushing me out almost. But I caught myself, and as I'm climbing out, the cop, he came out after me.
Okay.
I ran back to my work, and the gate doors or the gates were open. And I was telling my coworkers, shut it down, shut it down. And as I ran inside the gate, and I tried to shut the gate, I couldn't get it closed. I couldn't, like, bring it close enough and put the chain around it, you know?
Right. To secure it.
Right,
Yeah.
and so the mob came right up to where I was at. And I remember this guy tried to come in, and I pushed him, and he fell down on the ground. And this is really weird. It's very distinct. Like, you ever see the videos of like what's happened in Minnesota where people get too close to the ICE officers and they push them and they fall down on the ground and like, oh, like
Yes. Yep.
It was exactly like that. Like I pushed him to get away, and he fell down and rolled on the ground like I was stomping on him, you
Right.
know.
Like you just absolutely
But I
beat
see
him. Yeah.
that in these videos of like them filming in Minnesota and Minneapolis, and they get yelling in the cop's face with the megaphone. He pushes them away, and they fall down the ground. Oh, it was just like that. So then they were right up to the gate, and I was holding it so they couldn't come in. And then all of a sudden, the crowd parted, and this lady comes walking through the crowd. Let's see. I went back to my work, and the doors were cut. They were shut. I ran inside to open the gate, and I couldn't get it shut. The crowd came right up to the gate. They were throwing things that were on fire also into my work. And this kid came. I pushed him away. He fell on the ground. And then everything kind of stopped for a second, and the lady came through the crowd. And the crowd parted for her, and she walked through the crowd very slowly. It separated for her. She came right up to the gate, and I could tell she was the leader. She was wearing like a $50,000 mink fur coat and a leather backpack. And everybody wanted to be her. So imagine like you see all this chaos, everything stops and then parts, and here comes this lady, and I see all these like, rioters, liberal, blue-haired girls coming up to her and like, oh, you're a lesbian? I'm a lesbian too. Like that.
Really?
Yeah, like whatever
Trying to fit in.
Trying to be in her good graces.
Interesting.
Let's see.
Okay.
So, but I could tell she was like, I don't care, get away from me.
Right.
You're just nothing to me. So like I heard a woman say, you're a lesbian? I'm a lesbian too. And she just kind of ignored them, get away from me. Then I saw her put her coat down on the ground and then her backpack on top of it. Then the chaos started again. And I pulled the coat and the backpack inside of my work, and then I got the gate to shut.
Interesting twist.
Yeah.
I will admit, I was not expecting the whole, oh, you're a lesbian, I'm a lesbian too. What's also really distinct is if it was such an expensive and extravagant coat, she just threw it on the ground.
Yeah, she took it off and put it on the ground.
Right.
Right, but in the middle of all these people, like
who were obviously rioting with things on fire and very strange.
Yeah, and then she also took her backpack off. So it was like one of those I don't want to say Coach. Yeah, maybe like a Coach leather
like an
backpack.
Hermes Birkin bag.
Exactly, $50,000 for a stupid backpack.
Yeah.
That's exactly. It was like that. And she set it down on top of the coat. And then I pulled the coat inside my work, shut the door, and then I was able to lock it, and they weren't able to come in.
So one of the things I wrote down, because as I was taking notes, this was obviously the last stream, we had talked about the political stuff prior. I wrote down the lesbian line. Did it feel like identity politics? Did it like how you're kind of like getting people to follow you and fit in because you assimilate with a certain group? Did it feel like that at all, or am I kind of grasping at straws there?
I don't know. It was just idolization of that woman.
Okay.
Like, maybe she's only a lesbian because that woman's a lesbian.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know that it was like that deep of like identity politics, which is running and fueling this whole chaos. I just knew they wanted to be like her.
Got it. And when the cop came out of the manhole cover, you said he came out after you. Did that mean that he just got out from underground, or was he like in pursuit of you?
No, he wasn't in pursuit of me.
Okay.
He came out to do his part. Like, I didn't see him because it was just the one, but he was like in riot gear. As I'm climbing out, maybe I forgot to mention that. He was also in riot gear. So like as I climb out of the manhole, he comes out like look around, okay, and he comes out. And I remember he's wearing like shoulder pads and like the hard vest. And so yeah, he came out and he was in riot gear, but he just kind of went off to the left. I didn't really see him for the rest of the thing. I just knew he came out right before the chaos came.
And then one of the interesting points too, because there's almost like a shift in the dream where initially you're like, oh, we're not going to close up shop like everybody else. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then things pivot and you are kind of racing back to your place of work trying to close the gates. So what, if you can recall, like changed your mindset in the dream? Like what was the defining moment that changed that? And was there anything significant about that change?
When I saw how many of them there was.
Because it was just, there's no way that we're not going to get overrun by this.
Yeah, like, this is, Like, yes. So I remember walking out into the middle of the street, turning around the corner, and then all these news stories flashing.
Right.
Right? Man killed, man beat up, whatever it was. And to me, that was like, oh,
Like this is a little more serious?
yeah, it's a little more serious than I
Okay.
thought. Like, if it was just 5, freshmen from the University of Nevada, like, I don't care. But when I saw them coming, like, oh my goodness, like, people were carrying chains and bats, and like, this is like a 1970s New York brawl kind of
Right,
thing,
right.
the Warriors, like, yeah. So
Like this is gonna be vigilante justice.
exactly,
By a group
like
of
these
people. Yeah.
people they meant business. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to go. Let me shut the gate. I don't want to mess up. This is not my business. It's not my work, but I'm gonna have to get behind the protection of the fence.
Interesting. And then I think the most telling part, at least to me, was when people were really trying to assimilate with this quote unquote leader that you saw. She just kind of brushed them off.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't want to interject my own conclusions, but that kind of resonated with a lot of what goes on in people in politics, people in positions of power. They don't really care, give any consideration to the people who may have supported them getting to that position, right? And they're in it for themselves. So I don't know, but that definitely stood out to me. And then when you were able to, was there anything symbolic about you grabbing the mink coat and the backpack and then being able to close the gate? Because you were struggling with the gate.
I was.
And then you were able to close it. But you were able to close it after you pulled that stuff away. So
Yeah.
anything more there?
So okay, hold on. Let's go back a little
I
bit.
just gave you a lot. Sorry.
That woman,
Yeah.
blonde, stringy hair.
Similar to the other.
And I have more dreams with blonde, stringy hair women. Some are good,
Yeah.
right? And some are bad.
Okay.
So I don't know what that represents yet, because I'm afraid to like try to really peel that back, because in the dream with the woman with the beard, she was bad.
Right.
But in the dream with the woman with the dreams and the map of the
Overlooking the
United
country,
States,
yeah.
she was my partner. She was good. She was somebody we needed to work together to lay out this map.
Gotcha.
So that to me is very confusing. Now this woman, same thing, blonde, stringy hair. The coat, let's look at that. Like, what is a mink coat? What does that represent?
Wealth, status,
Power,
yeah.
status, wealth, control. Somebody who can make the crowd in the middle of a riot part.
Right.
That's very important. Now,
Influential,
the enemy, right? People worship the devil, and they think that they're doing righteous things, or in their mind they're doing what's right, but he doesn't care about them.
No, he
Because as
doesn't.
soon as you look at Jesus' light is illuminated, and you decide to look at it, he takes it all away from you.
Right.
Because you're not doing what he wants anymore. So in that same sense, but I don't know, like, I was having such a hard time putting that gate. I remember thinking, like, it's not going to work. As soon as I took her coat, I took her authority inside. Why did she lay it down? Like, maybe she tried to just lay it down for a minute.
Right.
And I found that opening to, like, I removed her authority and pulled it inside of where I'm safe, like behind the hedge of protection.
Right.
It shut. Like, all right, it's looking down. Okay, shut now.
That's
Hold on, Aaron. Don't
fascinating.
quite shut it yet. You're not going to be able to shut it. Okay, now you've removed this enemy's authority. Now you can shut it. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know, but I definitely see a connection between what's happening in Minnesota and this dream, because I was seeing things from all over the country, like
When you had those flashing of all the different news stories. Yeah.
like flashes of news stories from all over the country, and like that to me doesn't even the people marching, the rioting, the people, the woman, they seem the most prominent. But as I go through and read it again, that stories is like saying, look, they're going to start some other places. But this is just the beginning. Why Minneapolis? You have George Floyd. That's where that started. And now this lady, same thing. That's where that started. And the corruption, that's where this has started.
Yeah.
It's all, Minneapolis is this place.
Something about Minneapolis.
And it's not coincidence. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think it's
It'll be revealed. We'll have to wait and see.
yeah, definitely that. But I
That's
mean, it's just
definitely that.
it's just something to pray about. Like I mean, these are not like, I think people look at prophecy, especially in certain circles. They look at, no, that's not how God does it, right? So like, if I'm speaking what I see, the hometown, the Korea, whatever, I'm speaking what He shows me. Like inadvertently, I don't even understand what He wants me to, what has really happened, but He just wants me to speak it
And to share it. Yeah.
and to share it, right? So what happens when He said, hey, can these bones live? Oh, I don't know. Only you know, Gord. Well, prophesy to them. Prophesy that they'll live. Okay, so when He said, when you come back to life, or however He said it, I can't quote it right now, but they started coming back to life. God needed you. He gave you the authority on the earth. He gave men the authority on the earth. Some people He speaks to and say, I need you to say this. Some people He doesn't speak at all. Right? Men write books about how God doesn't speak anymore. He's given us His word, and that's all you ever need to know. Well, that's just a part of it.
Right.
You need to know that when things are gonna be tough, He talks to His people and puts the word out. That's how He does it, because not a lot of people just ignore it and like, that's not God. God doesn't do that.
Right.
That's not what I was taught, not what I read. Because I think about this: if you didn't know anything about Christianity and you read the Bible, would you believe that you could heal people?
100%.
Right? Would you believe that you could prophesy? Would you believe that
that the Spirit is alive on the earth and God is still omnipotent, all-powerful?
Would you
Absolutely.
believe that you have the exact same ability to do the exact same things, all the same things that Paul did? Nowhere in the Bible does he said, these are only for us.
Right.
Nowhere does it said only the 12 apostles minus Judas,
Right.
the new 12, the 12 apostles. Nowhere does it say only we're the only ones that are going to be able to do these things. It does not say that.
Right.
Men have decided, well, that's how it is because it doesn't work with me.
Right.
Well, it doesn't work with you for a reason.
Right.
You're hard-headed. You're stiff-necked. You dug in your heels. You have figured out there's so many things in the Bible we're just not meant to know, but men figured it out. And
Right.
that's what it is.
Right. It's us putting our own level of interpretation and
Yeah.
rationalization
And it's
and putting God in a box, essentially.
There's so many things that we're going to have to unlearn. That we're going to have to say, you know what, this was stupid. I need to not do this. And I'm just going to read that section again with an open heart.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to the Bible. It's definitely, it's instructions. It's so much to it. It's your instruction for life, but it's also God's heart. What is God's heart doing in these kind of situations? What is He telling you about His heart for you? It's not just, I'm going to sit and argue with you on theology, which is the study, right? Well, look at Darwin. His theory was we came from apes. Was it real? No. But yet they put it in all the science books.
Yeah.
Right? But it's
100%.
not 100. It's just a theory.
Right.
It's not proven facts. Well, we have a lot of that with Scripture. That a lot of men, this is the way it is, and everybody, he wrote it. It must be true.
Yeah. One of the things I would get from reading the Bible, if I knew nothing about Christianity, is I would think we're very lucky for being, post Christ than Old Testament before Christ, because we have things like the Spirit. And I know that one of the things I wanted to do on this episode in particular is we just had that service at church, Holy Spirit Encounters Church, where we released kind of those prophetic words over the congregation for 2026. You got up there, did a phenomenal job, talked about a lot of some of the geopolitical stuff that was going on, and kind of just to prepare our hearts. Anything that you want to add on for this kind of video and kind of this as well?
About that? Yeah. So let's give a minute to that, because, the Lord has really been, like, my dreams and my prayer time. Aaron, I need you to get people's hearts prepared, because I'm going to be done reminding them.
Right.
This is a sin. Stop sinning. If you repent now, you'll be okay. He is done reminding His people, right? That if you get up and you use fake prophecy to sleep with women or get money or lie to churches, I'm going to strike you down, and I'm done reminding you to repent. That time is like very close. I don't even care if he says, here's the date, right? I'm not going to say a date. I just know I feel it inside of me that it's coming soon.
Right.
That day where he's going to shake the nation, like shake everybody. And we have no idea what that looks like. So I
Right.
made a reference to Acts,
Right.
right? Ananias and Sapphira. He said, what are you going to do when you're standing next to somebody you've known for 10 years as a Christian, as your brother in Christ, and they fall over and die because of their secret sin? Like, that's Acts. That's part of the Acts church too. Not just speaking in tongues and prophesying and happiness and glory, right?
Right.
They lied to the Holy Spirit
Yeah.
about money.
Ananias and Sapphira lied to the Holy Spirit.
About money.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so they, first was one, and then the wife comes in. Did you lie? No, this is all the money. Okay, then she died. The same people that took out her husband took out her. They buried her. Now, that was God, right? Proving a point.
Yeah.
But when does that, like, you pray for revival and all these things, which is what we should. But also, there's also the other side of the coin that you don't want to look at, that
Right.
he will now even more chastise you. The woman in in Revelations, when he's like, how long are you going to tolerate this Jezebel? He wasn't just saying, he said, I'm going to put her and her children in a sick bed, but you're also tolerating it, so I'm going to spank you as well.
Right.
However that looked. We
Right.
needed to know that it doesn't just, like, it's not going to just be happiness and rainbows falling from the sky. There's also going to be, now that you see this, you better get yourself straight.
Yeah.
And
especially those people who know.
he's done talking to
Yeah.
these people, and I heard two things today. One of them was a 5-hour thing about Shambles. I don't know if you know who that is. Prophet, very famous,
The name rings a bell.
from Bethel.
Yes.
But this man
I saw that too. Is it the gentleman who goes undercover? Not undercover, but he does all the kind of digging. Kind of sits at a
Yes.
desk. He has like a guitar in his background.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I know
yes.
exactly.
I
who
like
it is.
him.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think he's like one of those reformed guys, but I do think he is very biblically sound.
Yeah.
But he still believes in the gifts, even
Yeah.
though he doesn't think that there's as many people as there are with the gifts, which I know it's true.
Yeah,
But
that's a whole other conversation.
that's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation. But I heard about him, and then last week, another person, and it was like Bethel and IHOP. And it's just getting deeper. Like, we saw this man, Mike Bickle, he was doing this. But no. All of them were doing this.
Yeah.
All of these men.
And just for those watching, IHOP is International House
Of Prayer,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
I went to the restaurant.
It's going, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I want pancakes. It's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And now these churches that people idolized, and they didn't ever question the man. They just, he's the prophet of God.
Yeah.
Okay, that those times are done as well, because
Yeah.
he's going to. I think the 2020 election exposed every single person that said, no, he's going to win 2 terms. God told me, and he didn't. It wasn't that they misinterpreted. It was they were wrong, and it's like a data mining thing.
Yeah.
Kim Clement said 2 terms, but if you listen to his prophecies, he also said there's going to be a break between these 2 terms.
Right.
And a lot of people miss that because they're not listening.
Right.
Right? They're just, 2 terms, that's it. He's going to win. Kim Clement said it. Kim Clement is the prophet of prophets. But he did say there was going to be, he said, Jezebel has chased away the prophets, and even Elijah. Now I said, go back and take your office, take your seat in the White House, and I'll fill you with the Holy Spirit. Nobody saw that. However, this is that data mining,
Right.
false prophecy, but I am, don't ever question my authority. No. That day is done.
Yeah. I mean, and it's true, because like, I think the most important thing is for each person individually, to obviously take these things to the Spirit, right? Take these things to God, present them to Him, lay them at His feet. Like, that's one of the things I really appreciate about our church.
Yeah.
Is, Apostle Philip will get up there and say, hey, look, like, this is what the Word of God says,
Yeah.
and test it in the Spirit. Like,
Yeah.
don't take this. I don't want you to believe what I believe. I want you to have a relationship with Christ and to be in the Word and to do this due diligence for yourself, because ultimately, at the end, we all stand for ourselves alone
Yeah, by yourself.
before
Yeah.
Christ. So,
I do love it too. I love how when he speaks, he has the scripture up right here, and he reads it, and then speaks, and then goes whatever he's teaching on. If it's different parts of the Bible, he teaches. And there's many things. There's things that we don't agree on, right? Like there's some things that we just don't agree on, but that doesn't matter. Like those
right,
things are not. They're not important. They're not like salvation issues. These are just things that we think are going to happen, might happen, whatever it is.
for sure.
You
Yeah.
know, but that's fine. He's still my brother. I love him.
Yeah.
To me, I can't understand like these people choosing to get a secular singer on their stage, and but never would invite a Baptist to sing on their stage or a charismatic to sing on the stage,
Right.
but they would get a secular person. Yeah, it's that time. This just know that this is the time when the exposure is happening. So false prophets, people lying, you're about to be unwrapped, uncovered, and it's going to be like, ooh, you should have known. You
Yeah.
should have not have messed with God.
Yeah.
So when I say this, like this is for those people who you know who you are, you know what you've done. Either you repent now,
Your time's up.
or you're going to be unraveled, and it's going to be painful.
Yeah. Well, in the spirit of rapping, that might be a good spot to wrap.
So there's that.
Do you want me to pray?
Yeah, you prayed today.
Perfect.
You're
All
the
right.
man too.
Oh, Lord, we thank you for waking us up today. We thank you for giving us another day. Thank you for my brother Aaron here and the ability to do this, God. We just welcome your presence, and we thank you for giving us the hearts and the minds to continue to seek after you. We thank you for plugging us into a group of people who are like-minded with that, God. And we just pray that as Aaron releases these words to the wind, that they would fall, on good, fertile ground, Lord, that there would be some influence in some corner of the earth by these videos, God. We just pray a blessing over whoever is listening, for everybody in our church, for our individual families, and for our great nation, Lord. So we thank you for your Son. We thank you for the blood that consecrates us. And God, we just ask that you would continue to bless us and to reveal your heart to us. In Jesus' name,
Amen.
amen.